Welcome back to the channel. Today, of course, we're talking about Wrexham Football Club, and seeing as the January transfer window has officially ended on the 3rd of February, today I'm going to be reviewing the 3 signings that Wrexham Football Club made, plus the 2 permanent departures that happened on later in the transfer window. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about obviously the signings, the departures, the near departures as well, to 2 shock players at Wrexham Football Club who've played a big role over the years. We're going to be talking about that situation. But before we get going in today's video, if you'd like to see more Wrexham AFC content on YouTube, make sure to get down there and click the red subscribe button. We're on the road to 26,000 subscribers. Make sure to drop a like. Let's go for 350 likes on today's video. Without further ado, let's get talking Wrexham Football Club, and more specifically Wrexham transfer news. So starting off with our first signing of the transfer window, it was Ryan Longman, of course, the man who we signed from Hull City for a reported £500,000. And what we've seen of him so far, he's proven to be worth the money that we've spent on him. He's made 3 appearances in a Wrexham shirt. More specifically, he's featured in just 103 minutes of football for Wrexham, where he's already registered 3 assists. We've of course seen him on his league debut in that defeat to Stevenage, where he didn't really have much minutes on the pitch and didn't have time to make an impact, but we've obviously seen him away at Crawley in his league away debut for Wrexham. He registered an assist for that last minute Elliott Lee winner, a perfect cross. And then more recently, last night, he obviously started and lasted around 70 minutes against Port Vale, where he got 2 assists. And there were a few questions lingering around where Ryan Longman would fit in this Wrexham setup and where he would play. Of course, we've seen him predominantly in his loan spell at Millwall and mostly throughout his Hull City career, playing on either wing. We know he's both-footed. He's very versatile, playing off the left, playing off the right. But what we can understand is Parky is going to utilise Ryan Longman as that right wing back, which we kind of expected. Parky set up with a 3-5-2 formation for Wrexham Football Club with wing backs since he's become manager, and I don't think there was going to be any change in just for one specific player. But watching him against Port Vale yesterday, yes, it was against League 2 opposition, but he's just very direct. He's a quick player on the ball, quick with the ball at his feet, and loves to take on his man. He's very similar to Ryan Barnett. We seem to have signed a player that is very, very similar, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's good competition for Barney, and obviously Longman can probably be utilised right wing back, left wing back, because we've obviously seen him multiple times cut in on his right foot and have a shot for Hull City and for Millwall. He scored a couple of really good goals for those, so we could utilise him in that left wing back spot if it's going to maximise that attribute of Ryan Longman's game. But overall, I'm really, really happy with this signing. Of course, if we can get his confidence high again, and if we can continue getting his goals and assists registered to his name, 3 assists in just 103 minutes is a very, very promising sign. And like I said, it was just his energy that he provides down that right hand side, constantly taking on his man, putting that cross into the box. And if we've got the players in the box making those sharp runs, peeling off their man, Ryan Longman is going to get a lot of assists in this Wrexham setup. So talking on Sam Smith now, of course someone who a lot of Wrexham fans are very excited to see sign on the dotted line. We've only seen a small glimpse of Sam Smith in a Wrexham shirt, of course, making his debut one day after signing against Crawley Town away last weekend. And we've kind of gained an indication as to what we can expect from Sam Smith. I wasn't at the Crawley game, so I can't really give a really honest judgment of what I've obviously seen of Sam Smith, and of course it wasn't streamed live on telly, so I've only seen snippets of the extended highlights. And I've obviously watched him a lot in the run-in to signing for Wrexham when we heard the rumours, and he's going to be that fox in the box for us. He's always in the box, whether it be from crosses, just causing a nuisance, making the runs down the channels. We saw that counter-attack against Crawley Town where Sam Smith made that clever run down the channel, cut inside and played that really good ball to the outside of the box. So that's something we could see that we might not have seen, with the current strikers we do already have. He's got a good first touch, and his strength to hold up the ball seems to be one of his main attributes. And I think we're signing him as sort of that hold-up striker. Of course, we've signed Jay Rodriguez, who is sort of similar in that game, but we've obviously started with Sam Smith and Jay Rodriguez. So could we be looking to utilise Sam Smith's probably ability more on the floor than aerially, and of course holding the ball up? But if you can do both in this setup, then it's 2 for 1. Obviously in the first half of the Crawley game, we saw that instance where Owen O'Connell floated that ball over the top to Sam Smith, and that's something Reading fans I think commented on one of my videos saying balls over the top to Sam Smith he will not do well with. But we've seen the ball over the top. He's got a brilliant first touch. Yes, he didn't get the strike off that he would have hoped to have got, and not the contact he would hope to have got, but he's got a good first touch. He held up the ball really well and managed to get that shot off. So I think every now and again that ball is definitely worth doing. We've seen it a couple of times, of course, with Dan Scarr and Owen O'Connell, just floating that ball over the top to a striker like Sam Smith, who's got good core body strength to hold up the ball and obviously get that shot away, because we know he's got good strength and we know he can score goals. I think you can tell Sam Smith is very confident in his own abilities, and he's going to be a very confident player up front for Wrexham. Hopefully he'll be resilient. Of course, if he doesn't hit the back of the net running in the next 2 or 3 games, he'll keep going, and I'm sure, of course, he knows his own abilities, and hopefully we can get the best out of Sam Smith. Of course, like I said, this setup seems to suit him really perfectly. If Phil Parkinson and his team have, identified him as the player to lead Wrexham forward and the player to lead Wrexham to promotion, then I have every belief that Sam Smith will come to Wrexham Football Club and hit the ground running immediately. So talking now on Jay Rodriguez, our final signing of the January transfer window. Of course, when he first signed, my video on him was very raw, very, unplanned, because I just was not expecting this at all. And I've got on my notes here, a signing that just completely came out of the blue for every Wrexham fan. About an hour before he signed, we saw some silly rumour coming out saying Wrexham had offered him £15,000 a week, and the next thing he's in Wrexham having a medical, and then the next thing he's officially there in a Wrexham shirt signed. A very, very quick process, and one that I didn't think was going to happen. I thought Sam Smith was going to be our only striker that was going to be added to the squad in the transfer window, but adding Jay Rodriguez, I think, is going to be very beneficial, especially for the second half of the season, and especially in the situation that Wrexham Football Club are in. If we're going off Jay Rodriguez, his career, 540 appearances, he's got that 1 England cap in 2013, multiple goal scoring seasons in the Premier League for Southampton, for Burnley, 146 goals to his name, and of course 1 promotion to the Premier League with Burnley. So in terms of bringing a striker in with experience, it sort of doesn't get any better than this with Jay Rodriguez, and I think in the Wrexham fan base it's a common theme for people to moan about age. But in this instance, Burnley, who are a top 2 championship club, still saw Jay Rodriguez as an asset in their squad. 20 appearances, 2 goals for them at age 35. This is just proving that age is just a number in this instance. We should have known this by now with Stephen Fletcher, and Jay Rodriguez, he's dropping down a division from a top-end championship club who have got so much quality in comparison to League One teams, and his experience, like I said, his goal scoring. Yes, he might not have scored as many goals in the past 2 seasons, but that's in the Premier League and that's in the Championship. If we can get him the right service at Wrexham and get his confidence high, which I don't think will be an issue because he's 35 years old, he's experienced, he knows how to get the best out of himself, and he knows how to score goals, I think this will give us a huge step in automatic promotion to the Championship. Yeah, I think as well, more importantly, speaking on Jay Rodriguez, it massively increases our quality in our striking department, even further than it already is. It would have been good if it was just Sam Smith being added, but to add a player like Jay Rodriguez, he's very similar to Stephen Fletcher in terms of experience, goal scoring, and the career path that he's gone. Wrexham now have 7 strikers on the books for this second half of the season, which is a lot. It is a lot. Of course, we're yet to publish our squad list for the season, but there are 7 strikers, and I think we have room for maybe 1 or 2 players if we're going off the squad that we're expecting. So I think we can expect to see all 7 strikers feature in that published squad for the second half of the season, which I think can only be a good thing. It's going to increase competition. It's going to make a few other strikers in this squad fight even harder for their spots in the starting 11, increase, their motivation. So I think this can only be a good thing, having 7 strikers, and I think all 7 strikers could come into this team and do a good role on their day. And yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with the signing of Jay Rodriguez. Whether he's on £15,000 a week or not, I do not care, as long as he comes to Wrexham, scores the goals that we need, does the job that we need up front at the minute, and fires us to promotion, then I don't think any of us will be moaning at all. Moving on to the departures now, starting with James Jones. Now, 1,261 days after first signing for Wrexham in August 2021 from Lincoln City, we bid farewell to one of our first midfield signings under Robin Ryan. Jones has followed in the footsteps of former Wrexham striker John Daddy Bovarson by signing for fellow League Two side Burton Albion, where he's already made his debut in the 0-0 draw away to Barnsley. Now, Jones, of course, made 138 appearances in a Wrexham shirt for scoring 16 goals along the way, and of course, more importantly, he helped us gain back-to-back promotions from the National League to League Two and League Two to League One. Yeah, and a bit of a personal comment on James Jones. I think, we always saw a midfielder who was going to run his socks off for 90 minutes. I was a massive fan of James Jones. I always thought, of course, he gave his all in a Wrexham shirt for 90 minutes straight, like I said. He'd run his socks off, he'd run the midfield well, he'd be that engine in the midfield. He might not have been, as good on the ball as, the likes of George Dobson, Matty James, but he would always offer that consistent press in the midfield, and game in, game out, he would give 101% for us. And I think he was a good asset, of course, in League 2 last season, but the jump up to League 1 this season, bringing the likes, like I said, of George Dobson, Ollie Rathbone, Matty James, the list could go on. I think it was always going to be hard for Jones to come in and cement himself as a starter in League 1. But I think this is obviously a great move for Jones. Of course, he's still playing League 1 football. Burton seems to have made a couple of good signings. They're on the up at the minute. They've had a couple of good results, and if he's going to go there and make himself a starter in that midfield, I think that's only a good thing. He's going there to get regular game time in League 1, and even if they go down to League 2, I'm sure he'll be, playing for a team like Burton Albion. He'll be looking to bounce back. I think this is a good move for him. Whether we got money or not for him, I don't think we really care. But like I said, it's a good move for him, and we wish him all the best.
Go on. Oh! Come on! Just get in there! Get in! Come on! Get in! Oh, hit it! Yeah! Come on! Get in! Come on! Get in!
A player that always gave everything for that badge on the shirt. Speaking on the final departure, Anthony Forde, now a huge fan's favourite like James Jones after his appearance on the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, and on the pitch I thought Anthony Forde was always a consistent performer down that right flank, never really put a foot wrong, and I think of course he's a free agent now, he'd be a great asset for any League 2 side, and I think going into this League 1 season I think Forde knew he wasn't going to get much regular game time with Barnett and of course Luke Bolton being ahead of him, so I think this was always going to happen. But we're looking at him now, 61 appearances in a Wrexham shirt, back-to-back promotions, and that goal against Yeovil Town, which looking back on it was a vital goal in securing our place in the Football League. So we wish him all the best of luck for where his career takes him next, and of course the next chapter for him and his family, likewise with James Jones. So two players of course that went down an absolute treat with the Wrexham fans, an absolute fans favourite, and two players, like I said, that always gave their all and played for the badge on the shirt.
Shoot! Come on!
So talking now on Paul Mullin and Ollie Palmer, there are a lot of rumours lingering around saying these two could possibly be leaving late on after the signings of Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith. But we're here now 2 days after the transfer window ended, and both of those are still contracted to Wrexham Football Club. Now, there was a legitimate interest in Ollie Palmer from Bristol Rovers in League 1 and a whole host of other League 1 clubs. But as we've seen, Ollie Palmer has stayed put and has said he's willing to fight for his place in the starting 11 at Wrexham, which I think is definitely interesting. I think obviously a lot of people are saying Palmer's not been up to it this season, but I think towards the start of the season when Jack Marriott was alongside him, I thought we saw a good version of Ollie Palmer. But since then, I don't know, I think he needs the right player up front in that front two with him to get the best out of him. It's not worked with Elliot Lee as we've seen. It worked with Paul Mullin in League 2, but we've not really seen it much in League 1. So I don't know, I really don't know. I think he does need that striker to help complement his style of play really well, but I think, like I said, he stayed at Wrexham. Is he going to get much game time compared, from the first season to the second half of the season? I don't think we'll see Ollie Palmer half as much, but who knows? He could have a string of performances and he could, knock Jay Rodriguez or Sam Smith out the side. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if he's willing to fight for his place, could we see a new version of Ollie Palmer? And yeah, speaking on Paul Mullin, a lot of fans were saying he was going to go to Port Vale. I don't think we were ever going to see Paul Mullin leave. I still think Parky thinks, you know, there is that striker in Paul Mullin that could go out there, and obviously a lot of Wrexham fans are thinking the same. How long that will take, we really don't know. If we don't see Paul Mullin, you know, back in this Wrexham team and have a string of scoring 3 or 4 goals, who knows what the future could hold for our new club legend. Of course, he scored 100 plus goals for us and it's not worked out. He's currently out injured at the minute, so could that have possibly meant that he didn't get the deal over the line, or did Parky just want to keep him in general? We really don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Would you have let Paul Mullin or Ollie Palmer go? I think I'd have probably let Ollie Palmer go on loan until the end of the season. I would have liked to have seen Paul Mullin stay. I think in the past couple of performances, you know, he had against Stevenage and Birmingham City, he looked a strong striker. He looked sort of back to himself. Of course, he hasn't scored and he missed that chance late on, but we sort of saw Paul Mullin that was, you know, like I said, had good strength, holding the ball up well, not afraid to take a shot and go forward with the ball. So hopefully his injury is not too serious, and I would still like to see Paul Mullin get back into this team and, fingers crossed, get back scoring goals. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know your ranking out of 10 for Wrexham's January transfer window. In my opinion, yes, we've splashed the cash, but we've bought a good striker in Sam Smith, who's League One proven, and I think he will, you know, play a massive role in possible promotion to the Championship. Likewise to Jay Rodriguez and of course Ryan Longman. I think this is a very, very solid window from Wrexham. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 because I think it has been very good. Good recruitment from Parky, and of course he's not been afraid to let these players leave the club. So yeah, like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe, like, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in another video. Take care guys, up the town.